What's up, everybody? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in with us tonight on a special edition of Walking This Way's Impact Voice podcast. We are live streaming right now on Facebook Live, so we encourage you to like, share, comment. We want to see the thumbs up, see the hearts up. I'm very excited about tonight's topic. I got a great group of people here tonight that's doing great things in the city of Dallas, of course. I got Mr. George here, and I got Felicia here. They got a lot of great projects coming up before we get off into tonight's topic with me and George. And me being a gentleman, of course, I want to introduce Felicia as well. She's the CEO and founder of Boss Magazine here in Dallas, Texas. She has an upcoming brunch coming up with her organization. I'm very excited to be a part of that this coming Saturday as well. So Felicia, go ahead and take it away and let everybody know about this great event that's coming up. And after that, I know George got an event coming up this coming weekend. So there's a lot of great things happening here in the city of Dallas, Texas. So being a gentleman, go ahead, Felicia. Go ahead and talk about what you got coming up.
Thank you so much for having me, Ferman. I'm glad to be here. I'm so excited about the brunch. What can I say? It's for entrepreneurs. It's for aspiring entrepreneurs. It's for people that just want to start something. And that is the theme of the brunch, is start something great. Start Something is actually one of the 10 programs that we offer through Dallas Boss, which is a powerful business building resource that we are introducing to Dallas, Fort Worth. And we have Houston Boss, we have Atlanta, we have Chicago and Seattle, and we have that model and have taken it internationally now to even Africa. And so it's been working to help people establish powerful businesses. So we thought to roll it out in Dallas. It's been doing tremendously well, but we want to meet the people. We want to meet the people in the magazine. We want to meet the business owners. We want to meet the entrepreneurs that are eager to do great things in Dallas, Fort Worth. So we are hosting our first Start Something Great brunch. We're so excited. It's going to be a Mediterranean theme at a Mediterranean restaurant in Carrollton, Texas. And all you do is you click the link, you register. You can Google Dallas Boss Brunch or Start Something Brunch, or visit dallasboss.com. We have like a handful of spots left. We are surprised and thankful and grateful for the amount of cooperation we've received from the public. We're already at capacity, but I'm going to try to squeeze a few more people in there. We have beautiful women, beautiful men, beautiful entrepreneurs, people that love God, people that love community and love family, people that just want to see change. They are coming to this brunch. So hopefully this will be the first of many, and we're going to continue to have them monthly. So I know that you will be there, and I'm grateful for you and thankful to have met you, and just continue to share and tell people about it. Like I said, we're not going to turn anyone away. We are at capacity, but we're going to try to, because somebody might not show up. So we're still accepting people, and we're looking forward to not only meeting. This is not just a networking event. This is an activation event. This is where people will be activated. They're not going to be able to say no to the things that they've been dreaming about and praying about. They're not going to be able to deny the desires of their heart after Saturday. We have activities where we are making it plain. We're writing the vision, making it plain for entrepreneurs. They can't run from me. They can't run from the assignment. So we're going to really bring it out. I have a purpose partner activity where we're pairing people. We're pairing seasoned people. We're pairing lenders. We're pairing service advisors and people in the service industry and people in sales with people that want beauty products and want a beauty brand and want to do this and do that. So we're taking everybody in. I'm personally doing an intake analysis on everybody that registers to pair them with people that they need to be connected with. So this is the first of its kind type of event. It's power packed. It's powerful. And I'm excited. I'm excited. So I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's something you're going to have to experience.
Awesome. And like I said, I'm very thankful to be a part of it, to talk about the podcast this coming Saturday, and very excited about what God is doing right now in this time, especially here in Dallas. Even though I've been living here a year, from Mobile, Alabama to Dallas, Texas, it's been truly a blessing, and it's the best yet to come. So if you are available Saturday, come out Saturday morning. It starts at 11, correct?
That's correct. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Awesome. So come out, be a part. of this great event. If you're an entrepreneur, desire to be an entrepreneur, you want to connect with different people who are already going places and being established. This is a great opportunity for you to be a part. So thank you, Felicia, for taking time to be the schedule. I know you have this is a busy week for you.
It's so busy.
Well, I won't say busy. Somebody said don't say productive. This has been a very productive
yes.
week for you. And I think we'll take time out of your productive schedule to talk about the upcoming brunch this coming Saturday. Once again, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to seeing you again, and it's been a pleasure. Just continue to share it with people. This is not gonna be the end of it, because this is just the beginning. We're starting something, and we just want to activate everybody. As we activate great resources in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we want everyone to be activated with us to really pursue the things that are deep down that they've been running from, that they're afraid of, and they think that they don't have resources available. We are bringing those resources to the front line. So I'm excited. We're doing great things, not just for minorities, but for everyone that will come, for everyone that will. Dallas Boss is here as a resource and a staple in the community to do great things. So let's do great things, guys.
Awesome stuff. And like I said, it is a great magazine. It's a beautiful magazine, well put together, very professional. And that's what it's all about. You're very welcome. And I know, like I said, I appreciate you again. Looking forward to seeing you Saturday. Now that not just you, but everybody else that's going to be there this coming Saturday. And very excited. So let God be God. Let His will be done.
Yes, Jesus.
Cool beans. Like I said, very excited once again. Well, I said we are live streaming right now here on Facebook Live. We encourage you to get a thumbs up, the hearts up, share, leave some comments. We want to hear from you. If you have more information you want to get about the upcoming brunch with Dallas Boss Magazine CEO and founder Felicia here, be glad to get with her. She'll let you know more how you can be involved, how you can be plugged in, and that's what it's all about. And Sabrina Ford said, "Cool beans."
Sabrina, I'm going to be looking for her on Saturday.
Yeah, she's in the comment section right now. She said cool beans. So be trying to take my word. I say cool beans. Everybody take my word. But anyway.
That's because they're listening to your podcast.
Well, yeah, they are there. And we're having fun tonight. And we're talking about identity tonight. And I know I got my good friend here, George Brooks. He's an advocate for mental health. He has an organization here in Dallas. He has something coming up this weekend as well. So George, let the viewers know what's going on dealing with mental health and what's taking place right here in Dallas, Texas.
All right. Well, I'm George Brooks, the CEO of Metta Association, which is a nonprofit that focuses on men's mental health, primarily Black men's mental health. We focus on recidivism, fatherhood, and manhood. And we are partnering with a nonprofit called Chance 490, which is headed up by the amazing Dr. Asteria Miller. And our event Friday is going to be at Luxury 5-Star, which is at 211 North Irvay Street, Suite 1220 in Dallas, Texas, from 11 to 1. And Dr. Miller and I will be discussing the new 988 mental health crisis line. And we'll also be talking about, I'll be discussing manhood, mental health, and some of those issues from 11 to 1. It's a free event. Please come out and join us. It'll also be a networking opportunity. You'll get to hear some revolutionary stuff from me. It'll be a great event, the first of many. So please come out and join us this Friday, the 29th from 11 to 1 at 211 North Irvay Street, Suite 1220. We're looking at doing many events after this, and we look forward to meeting you. So, and anyone that wants to come out and join us, please come out and join us. And also on August 6th, Metta Association will be holding our first independent event in my hometown of Memphis, but I don't want to muddle the two, so I'll be discussing that next week and more details on that. So I'm very excited about this. It'll be a fun event. It'll be an informative event. So I look forward to seeing people there on this Friday.
And awesome stuff. And it's like I say, it's good to see beautiful people doing beautiful things, men and women. Very excited, utilizing your gift, utilizing everything that God put within you. You're not being ashamed. You're not being embarrassed. You're actually living a life that we're supposed to live. We're supposed to live like royalty. We're supposed to be kings and queens in the earth. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about identity. And also, I'm rocking the I've Been Chosen since day one. This is on my website store. I will post a link. It's called I've Been Chosen. It's inspired by Jeremiah 1:5. So I will post a link I want you to order the shirt. We got some new shirts coming out as well on the online store. So we got a lot of great things happening here on the podcast of Walking This Ways. I also give a big shout out to the fam, Coach Shay, Anna C, and Kenny Primetime Williams. They always with me on Tuesday. And tonight, me and George gonna be chopping it up. We're gonna be talking about identity. And I know Miss Felicia, she's present with us for a little while as well. But we're talking about identity tonight. And like I said, if you're watching this right now, live streaming, we thank everybody for watching this as well. We encourage you to like, share, comment, get the thumbs up, get the hearts up. We want to hear from you. We got a lot of great events taking place this weekend here in the city of Dallas, Texas. I don't know what it is about here in Dallas. There's a lot of great things going on in the city. I'm very thankful to be plugged in Dallas. Big shout out to DFW, my new home, of course, and I love being here. But God is good, of course. We thank everybody for sharing as well. I just got the notification. People are sharing as well. So we're going to be talking about identity. And I looked at the meaning of identity the other day. And this meaning of identity really stuck with me. It said the condition of being oneself or itself and not another. And I'm going to ask you, George, to you, what did that mean when you hear that definition of identity?
The operative word is self. And, I think a lot of people misconstrue identity with selfishness. But the thing is, you can't affect anything externally till you know who you are, and that begins with self.
That's right.
And that entails a lot of introspection. For me, it entails a lot of prayer and knowing who I am, knowing my identity, knowing what makes me me. Once you learn and once you have a firm understanding of that, once you develop that, once you develop your morals, your standards, and what makes you you, and master that, then you begin to have an external effect on the world. Then you know how you figure in and how you fit in into your place in the world.
Right.
Then you can begin to have a change, hopefully a positive effect on the world. Mm-hmm. And that's part into what we were discussing about kingship. Mm-hmm. What is a king to you? Is a king one that rules in a draconian manner, or is a king meant to lead, not rule? They're not mutually exclusive. They aren't the same thing. Mm-hmm. So everything begins with self.
And awesome. And I know you hanging out with us for a little while, Felicia. What do you think about that? I mean, that definition of identity really stuck out to me when I was looking at up, like the condition of being oneself or itself and not another. Mm-hmm. Like you're you and you're not nobody else.
I love it. I love the topic of identity. I love what it stands for. I love how you literally can make it your own. Like identity is you make it your own. You make it your own. It's a very complex, or it can be a complex conversation, because I've been studying it actually the last 2 years, but it can be complex because you have to learn who you are. You have to discover that. And then we see biblically where people's names were changed, so you have to adapt to that newness. And in the newness, that's an uncomfortable situation, but it's for the greater, it's for the greater good. It's for the purpose, because you're lost until you walk into that new name. You're just wandering aimlessly. And so we have an opportunity to tread new territory as we identify with who we are in Christ. Even unbelievers, they wrestle with things and decisions and which way to go in relationships and things like that, because they don't understand the source. The source knows his identity. He just wants us to realize who he is so that we can know who we are. And that's where the disconnect comes from. So I spent some time over the last 2 years studying identity and learning myself, and learning, like he was saying, kingship and royalty, and even studying the tribes of Judah and David and just all of the 12 sons, learning about those names and those inheritances and those territories and how each name represented something. So I love identity. I walk in it. That confidence, knowing who you are, it will open doors for you. It'll bring you before great men. So I pray that everyone, you're never going to know yourself completely in one day, because that's what every day is for. Learning, growing, experiencing, meeting new people. Every encounter will help you learn something new. I've learned something new about myself dealing with Ferman. I've learned something new about myself, just today. So the thing is learning yourself, being a student of identity, learning, why do I like this? Why don't I like this? Why don't I appreciate that? And that's how we become better people, and in turn and in whole, build better communities.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I love how you put that together. I love how Joy put it together. And that's so important. Taking time out, knowing yourself. It's not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing thing. We constantly involved every day. So what we do today, we're gonna do something completely different tomorrow. And like you said, knowing who you are, knowing your identity, knowing what you represent is what it's all important. And when I look at the word, we're going back to the beginning. The Bible says, God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. I looked up the word image, a representation. I just want to talk to the guys tonight. I just want to talk to the men. Me and Joy chop it up here tonight. Fellas, men, brothers, sons, fathers, you're made in the image of the Most High God. We're made in the image of the man who created the heavens and earth. That, to me, George, that's motivation all by itself. What do you want to say about that?
Well, the problem is that for centuries, we as Black men have been told that we are the antithesis of that by society. We are told we are not kings. We are treated as though we are not kings. And that confuses us, that scares us. So, when you look at society, when you're constantly told that you're not that, you struggle with that self-identity. Because we know we are deep down. Look at our legacy. Look at before we were enslaved. Look at how we live. We had tribal culture. We got to get back to that. We are not leaders of the home anymore, but that's what we're meant to be. So that falls into what we were talking about in terms of having a sense of self. And we falter trying to get back to that. That's why a lot of times we have problems in our relationships. We fall into addiction. We fall into depression. We fall into economic confusion, because we know how to sustain ourselves economically, but we get confused on the way to that, because we're constantly being told and treated as though we are not that, but we are. So that's why we have so many problems, and that ties into mental health. We're confused, we're lost. But once we begin to develop the sense of kingship, the sense of brotherhood, if we can really get back to that, you'll have a stronger sense of that kingly nature, of that regalness that we really generationally have had before our enslavement, because that enslavement still continues today, because we have lost and have had our sense of self stolen.
And I'm just thankful now that we're gaining it back. We're learning to gain it back.
Right.
And I know this is not a one-time thing. This is an ongoing lifestyle. And what's very important to me is the guys, the men, me as a man. I know, Joy, you as a man. I hear a lot of women, and I talked to women recently, and they say that they don't want that leadership role. They want the men to get back into leadership. I seen a woman crying out on Facebook Live, crying out for the men, saying, Adam, where are thou? Calling for us. Where are we? I mean, where are we at? We all over the place. We on drugs. We on alcohol. We leaving the women. And if you look inside the jails, more men are being incarcerated. Men that look like me and you, George, being incarcerated constantly every day. So what happens? It leaves the men and the children by themselves. I mean, the women and the children by themselves. You remember think about remember what Pharaoh did. What Pharaoh did? Pharaoh wanted to kill every male child.
Right.
Read your Bible in Exodus. He wanted to kill every male child. That's going on today. The pharaohs are killing us men, leaving the women by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can say this personally. When I went through my when I fell off, basically, and I went through my addiction and I went through my struggle, one thing I recognized was that my sense of self was thrown off. And once I really identified and got my sense of self back, that's when things turned around. It was also accompanied with my spirituality and me getting right with God and me getting my mental health straight. What really started was that I had people in my life that came to me and let me know I forgot who I was. Mm-hmm. And it really, the catalyst for it was me regaining my sense of self. Mm-hmm. So what I try to do through in my personal life and through my nonprofit is help other men and really other people in general focus on their sense of self first. Mm-hmm. And once you can master that, then nobody can stop you because you know who you are. Mm-hmm. And then you can focus on attaining those traits and characteristics that you want that will make you better. Become the man you admire, then give him away.
Awesome stuff. And I'm gonna read some comments too. Felicia Walker Johnson said it's valuable to know your own identity and not no one else being. Sabrina Ford said great answer. Sabrina Ford said the black man is king. Sabrina Ford said I want to be a leader, but to other women. I'm gonna ask you about that, Felicia. What do you think about that? Sabrina said she want to be a leader, but she want to be a leader for other women. And we know the Bible speaks about that the older women are supposed to teach the younger women. So you want to comment on that?
I think it's great. I think that's a great ambition to have. The good thing about that, it's not one of those things that you have to pray and ask God, is this okay for me to do? Because God is always wanting us to raise up people in the way that they should go and in his way. So if she's doing it from a righteous perspective and empowering people to do great things that line up, then I think that that's great. I think that's great. I think it's empowering. I think that she should come to the brunch if she's in town, and I'll give her some tips on that and connect her with some people that really need it. From a professional standpoint, I could actually show her how to set it up as a nonprofit or as an organization, and she could really do great things with it as far as scale, and she could make it global even. And that's what we stand for. So if she's interested in that, she can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, or on my website. And I can give her more information about nonprofits, about mentorship, and just being an example, and we don't have to have a huge corporation or a huge nonprofit to be an example. Those things are free. And you just start there with integrity, with character, living your life like someone's watching you every time you do something. So you just start there, and God will see that, and then he'll do the rest. So we do the small things, he does the big things, and that's how that works.
Awesome. And also she said in the comments, she said, yes, I'm working on that, please. Check out Women with Purpose Tour. I'm the founder.
I want to be on the tour.
Yeah, she left in the comments. So big shout out to Sabrina Ford for doing great things. Matter of fact, I'll be on her podcast. It's August the 8th, I think I'll be on there. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up with her on her podcast. Big shout out to her as well. Big shout out to the Fort Worth area, also DFW. So we're talking about some great things. We cooking with some gas here. We cook with some oil, grease, whatever you want to call it. And just dealing with the mental health part, George. I know men are now opening up now.
Right.
It's been so long that we've been, what's the word? Hibernating.
Yeah,
hiding, running. We don't talk about things. Women talk about a lot of stuff. It's like, if you're married, I'm not married, I'm single, of course. But just imagine you having a wife, she wants to ask you about how your day is. We would say is, my day is good, but you want to know the whole entire day, because we would never talk to communicate. But now men are opening up now. And I know, George, you in that field, you in that arena. What do you have to say about men now are starting to open up more to their lady?
I think it's a long time coming. I think we still got a long way to go as far as learning how to communicate. I think the first thing to do is to us do it more in terms of with each other as men and hash our stuff out, and then transition over to communicating with our women. And what it'll do is bridge the gap between the genders. because there's a lot of work to do with our men and women as far as communication. But we as men have a lot to do, and I'm so glad. That's why I'm so glad you're talking about self. That's where it begins. And let me piggyback on what you were saying earlier about mentorship, because that's something that we don't focus on enough. Not only is mentorship important, but being willing to be mentored.
That's good.
Once you focus on that and accept being mentored and being taught and being guided, regardless of your age and or position,
that's huge.
It will open up so much for you. Because not only am I one that will mentor people, I have several mentors now.
That's good.
That I learned so much from. And those relationships are so beneficial and precious to me. And that helps me develop my sense of self. And now I know how to relate to people. And what I'm building with my nonprofit is a venue for men to come together and us hash out our things. And I noticed it opens my awareness to how I deal with women. And it's a process. It takes time. And if we keep doing like we're doing, because I've noticed men are opening up more, you know, and it'll benefit our relationships with our women. It'll give us our position back in the homes, and it'll benefit our children. And that's why I focus on recidivism. I don't just focus on young people, because my thinking is this: when we focus on recidivism and focus on adult males, we're giving those parents back to those children also. So that's why I don't just focus on young people. You focus on people of all ages, because you don't know how that interaction will affect when that man goes home. He'll deal with his children differently. He'll deal with his wife differently. Things like that. So, you know, thank you for having these conversations, because they open up and start dialogue.
And they do. And they do. And like I said, building the home. If you look at the Bible, always talks about the home. You know, he talks about the man. How can a man, if a man can't rule his own house, how can he take care of God's house? Which is impossible. They let you know it starts in the home first. If we get the home, our families together, then it will spread abroad. Then we better handle things better within our community. It's just that God really deals with the home right now in this season, in this time, getting homes back together. We know our house divided cannot stand. You know, the wife going one way, the husband going one way, the children are in the middle. So our house is divided. You know, this is mine, this is yours. What about coming together, being one?
Right.
As we enter matrimony, because we know marriage is sacred. We know marriage is deep. It's a deep calling for man and woman. Understanding marriage, you know, it's more than say I's married now, but understanding what a marriage is, the good, the bad, the trial, the tribulation. We're gonna have the disagreement, but really working these things out instead of saying, hey, I give up, I'm leaving. And I know as men, sometimes as men, I know I've been there before too. We soon as sign of trouble comes, we run. So I'm gonna ask you about that, Joey. We say about that men running, because I know I've been there before. Soon it gets tough, I'm out the door.
Well, I've been divorced, so
I'm gonna have to leave for 1 second. I hate to leave while you're talking about men running. I have to log out, but thank you so much for having me. I actually have a Bible study starting at 7:30, so thank you so much, and it was great being on with George. George, I want to see you Saturday too.
Okay, you will.
I want to see you Saturday, so just register, and you can get the link off my website or off my page, and we have someone that's gonna be inspirational to you for your nonprofit as well. So
thank you so much.
Look forward to seeing you Saturday. Thank you so much for having me, Ferman.
Are you welcome, Felicia? I'll see you Saturday.
Okay, I'm going to listen to the conversation and leave lots of comments later.
Okay, cool.
God bless you guys.
God bless you too as well. Appreciate you again. All right, so go ahead and finish that we were saying, because I've been there before, the running, not learning to confront what's before us, but just run. So go ahead and finish. I want you to elaborate on that.
Well, because, you know, we haven't had a strong presence in the home, and because of that lack of self, so we haven't seen a lot of commitment. We don't see a lot of men sticking it out. So we just do what we just emulate what we see. You know, how many of us come from long-standing, stable households? And if we do, how many of us really see that on a consistent basis? look at the divorce rate. And we just emulate what we see. A lot of us still have issues with commitment. A lot of us, when we talk to our friends, how many times are we in relationships? We talk to our friends, man, this going on, that going on, just leave. It's easier to leave. And that's what we taught. Relationships go south. So we still have issues with commitment because we have a lack of maturity because we haven't developed the self yet. But sometimes it's just relationships just don't work out because we are not in tune with our women because we don't have that sense of self.
Right. And I totally agree with that 1000% on what you're saying that, and we all, and it's just part of that man nature. I don't say man, the male nature. We lead with our penis. And I'm just saying that because we don't think things through. We get that hard on. I'm just being real with it, not sugarcoating anything. We leave with that member in our pants. We don't think things through. We just think, oh man, this is it. They showed them my manhood. But we create chaos. Yeah. We create brokenness, hurt. We bring children in that we wouldn't intend to bring in. So we just thinking about, I'm gonna have sex, and a child comes out of that. But men take care of responsibility as well. If you had a child with someone you're not together, and I also want to talk about that too. I had never experienced that before, but go ahead, George.
A lot of times our immaturity and our flawed sense of self causes us to pick the wrong women too.
Right. I agree. And I'm going to talk about this too. Go ahead.
Or we pick women for the wrong reasons.
True. I agree.
So, when you have that or you don't have a strong sense of self, you attract the wrong people, you attract the wrong energy, and that causes a lot of problems. And the most damaging thing is that you pick the wrong, you end up having a detrimental effect on children. So, it all begins with self. And I noticed once I got a good grounded sense of self, things weren't perfect for me, but they got better. I became a better father. I became a better person. I'm far from perfect, but I feel like I got a better foundation. I got a better sense of who I was. So it's just like when we were talking about the home, God in the home, how much the Bible focuses on the home. To me, self is synonymous with home. It begins there first. Clean your house before you clean your neighbors. So that's just, where everything begins. So,
and it do. And it does. And I love it. And I just love these type of discussions. And not just talking it out, but actually come with solutions to the problem. Yeah. I love this. I love this time in my life while I'm learning about Ferman, embracing who Ferman is. I'm constantly learning who this guy is. I remember when Cam Newton was getting ready to play for New England Patriots. And he said, I never seen this side of Cam before.
Right.
I don't even know who this guy is. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we look at ourselves, I don't know who this Ferman is. But I know this Ferman is dangerous. When I say dangerous, I mean he's about purpose. He's about success. He's not about failure. He's not about blaming other people for his mistakes. He's about becoming a better man. But embracing ourselves, embracing self is a beautiful thing. And I remember I seen this thing in the mall one day. It was like last year. And it says, I'm getting my together.
Right.
So as men, we getting our together right now. And if you're in a relationship, cool. If you're not, especially the single men, guys, you single, focus on getting yourself together. Right. Don't just make I gotta have a woman. No. Focus on knowing who you are as a man. Being comfortable. Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
And you don't have to have a woman, you need to have the right one.
Right.
But to do that, you gotta be right. And we can talk about the process of getting together. For me, what it looked like was being alone, being totally detached from everybody and just sitting and just thinking about how did I get to this point? And first part of it was accepting accountability for the situation that I had been into. Being accountable for how did I fall off? What did I do? Not what did everybody else do to me? Not what everybody else's culpability, me. And once I accepted responsibility for everything that I had done, then everybody else was blameless. And once you get to where everybody else is blameless, you know you're on the right path. But it was a lot of prayer. I had never prayed before that point. It was a lot of reading about Stoicism, read about Marcus Aurelius, searching out different people that were successful, emulating their habits, not having role models. And let me say this, I don't believe in role models. I believe in following successful people's habits, their positive habits, but you don't follow role models because nobody's perfect. But you follow successful people's habits and finding ways to work them in and integrate them into my personality and what works for me and who I was to build myself up. Once I mastered that, I began implementing that into how I interacted with other people, and things got better. Like I said, it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. But, you know, that's how you get better. You got to work on self. You can't worry about your family. You can't worry about this. Sometimes you got to set that aside and get by yourself and work on you. Once you do that, things will get better.
Oh, and most definitely. And you said something very important. You don't believe in role models, but emulating their success. I'm just paraphrase what you're saying. That's important. So in other words, you take what they did and you apply it in your own arsenal. I heard this analogy, having your own blacksmith. That's having your own blacksmith. You take great information from great people, you apply it to your own arsenal because you're your own man.
Right.
So you don't want to act like somebody else. You just take their information and apply it to your life to add to your arsenal. So George, enlighten that on for some people that's listening right now on Facebook Live who may never heard it that way before. Because I know we always want to be like this person, that person, but we never learn how to be ourselves. Take great information from them, but
Right.
take that information, take it to your blacksmith so it can be custom fitted for your arsenal. Can you elaborate more on that as well for those who hearing this for the very first time?
I'd be specific. Like there's a guy, Wes Watson, that I listen to on YouTube. He's he's unique, but I take what he says and what I do is I apply it to myself. I pick it, I don't necessarily pick and choose, but I take it and use what he says as a template. And I take elements of what he does and what he says and apply it to me. And I just take it and I just manipulate it. Okay, he said this. I can apply what he says to me and make it successful. Les Brown, I may take elements of that. So it's just like Bruce Lee said. Bruce Lee said, take
be
what
like
is
water.
Useful. Be like water and take what is useful and discard what is not. And I do this in my personal life, people that have mentored me when I was a teenager. I remember, okay, he did this not useful for me. It's, you learn to adapt, but you have to study, you have to learn, read Nietzsche, reading is important. And now you got audiobooks, find different philosophers, find different people you can take a lot of what Jay-Z says now, especially in terms of business, and take it and, okay, he said do this, he said this, okay, let me apply that to this part of my life. People really don't have an excuse. It's so much wisdom being dropped out here, so many gems being dropped, that you can take and, okay, let me utilize this. I want to start this business. This person said this, okay, that you can use to develop and enrich yourself. Yep. You don't lack for resources. You don't lack for knowledge.
No, you don't. You don't. Because remember what the Bible said, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Why? Because they rejected it. He ain't said they ain't destroyed for the lack of the house, the car, the money. He said my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge because they rejected it.
Yeah. Yeah, we a lot of times we just fall into that. And like my hometown of Memphis, a lot of the reason I'm going back is because and I'm not going back. I'm not moving back, but I plan on splitting my time and going back to help,
Right.
things, because I know the mindset there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's such a lack of self, especially with the men there.
Oh
I want
yeah, I feel you.
kind of impart some things
Right.
because it's such a negative mindset. Because one thing I always heard, and part of the reason I left, I got so sick of hearing about the white man. The white man won't let you. The white man won't let you. And I would hear that from people that I respected. And it's just like, if, stop using it as an excuse. Because here's my thing. That element has existed for hundreds of years. At some point, how many times you gonna use it as a crutch, as an excuse for you not doing what you're supposed to do?
Right.
It ain't going nowhere.
It's not.
So you either got to, if you walking past a dog and getting bit every day, at some point, when you go cross the street, when you go find another way. And we as Black men, we got to start doing it. We got to start circumventing these obstacles and stop letting them keep being an excuse. It begins with self. It begins with mental health. Because other people not letting these be barriers. And we stronger. We too strong. We
Right.
too resilient.
That's true. And that makes sense. And I'm reading the comment section. Sabrina said the resources are there. People just don't want to put in the work to get it. You want to elaborate on that, George?
Exactly. During the pandemic, is resources, rent assistance. It was resources out there to help people. But you know what I would hear from people? That's too much trouble. I don't want people in my business. So they suffer. Is resources, is information, is people out there to help, but people don't want to do the work. Anything worth having, you got to grind. I kept my nonprofit going during the pandemic, during the inflation, with no donations, nothing, but I kept grinding. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the prayer. You got to put in the dedication. And if you do it, it will pay off. God is not going to leave you out there hanging. But prayer without work is useless.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
and it makes sense. Like I said, the work. And I remember, and I was listening to the Kevin Hart and Jay-Z interview. For those who missed that interview, y'all need to check that interview out. They were dropping some major jewels in that interview. You would have to sit and dissect it. But Jay-Z said something before. He said, create your own lane. Are we creating our own lane? Or are we just blaming society? You hear people always talking about, well, society it is, but are you creating your own lane? Someone asked you about that, Joe. What about that? Creating your own lane.
We learning to. I see it. I see it getting better. I'm seeing a lot more entrepreneurship with our people, especially our men. I think the pandemic, in some ways, taught a lot of us that, look, the economy, we can't depend on jobs in the economy. We got to do our own thing. And I'm so happy to see that, because that's the true way to financial and economic independence, is us creating our own economy.
Right.
I'm very happy to see that. I hope that it's something that we can pass on to future generations. We got to create our own lane, because if we keep riding their lanes, we're going to stay stuck in traffic.
Right.
Can't do that anymore.
Most definitely. And I do see that change taking place right now in our generation of creating our own lane, getting ourselves established. If you on somebody's job, if you work somebody's 9 to 5, you do your 9 to 5, take care of your responsibilities. But at the same time, if you got something you want to work on, put in the work as well. Don't just use that excuse, I'm tired. If you really want something bad enough, you're going to work for it. Ain't it right, Joe? You're going to have to put in the work. You're going to make some sacrifices. And it's going to take you some time. It's going to take you giving up some things in order to be successful. I was watching this video with Dr. Dre and Busta Rhymes. In the midst of the pandemic, I think Dr. Dre said he recorded like
247.
Yeah.
247 songs.
So he didn't use that pandemic as an excuse.
Yeah.
So what they say about me and you, did? What they say about everybody that's listening? If this man, you know what they gonna say? Well, see, that's Dr. Dre. He could do that. He has money, so he could do that. But they missed the point. He kept working.
Yeah.
But we make excuses.
Yeah.
Because his mind play tricks on him. Everything with his song back in the day, your mind play tricks on you.
Yeah, by Ghetto Boys.
And they was, you know what? They was saying some truth to that. The mind does play tricks. And just because you may not be on that Dr. Dre status or the Jay-Z status, that don't stop. That don't deter who you are.
Yeah.
Stop being so small-minded. Be big-minded. Be global-minded. You got to believe in yourself.
And don't hang around small-minded folks.
Exactly. Don't.
If somebody because I've had people during the pandemic tell me, man, why don't you just shut down? Why don't you just, that made me grind harder, and I pull away from those folks because God will find a way to take those small-minded people away from you.
Most definitely.
Everybody ain't meant to be in your life, and that includes your blood family.
That's true. That makes, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm reading the comment section. Sabrina said, facts. Nothing started moving for me in life until I started curating my own lane. What you want to say about that, George?
It's true. Because, the thing is, your train not going to move till you start getting down the track. Momentum.
Having that urgency. You got to have that urgency.
Got to have that urgency. And it's hard to do it because, I'm starting to gain momentum with me personally and my nonprofit because I kept going during the pandemic when nothing was going on. You have to keep going as hard as it is. You have to keep going when it seems like nobody believes in you. You have to keep going when folks turn against you. You have to keep going when it seems like nobody believes in you. That's when you reap those rewards. You sow your seed, but you got to be the one watering.
Got
There ain't no sun. You got to keep going. When the wind and winter come, you have to keep going. That's the only way it's gonna grow. And people think, well, all I got to do is plant the seed and it's gonna miraculously grow. No, it don't work like that. And Black men, we got to do that. We got to do that. Black women, we got to do that because it's not like it was when my parents were growing up, where you could get a job, stay there 20, 30 years, retire, and have a nice pension, get your Social Security. No. When I was in my early 20s, I worked for this IT company that had $30 million of venture capital, which means they didn't have to pay it back, just sitting in the bank. Don't you know we was all laid off 6 months later? So no, I had to do my own lane. Had to. And even though I'm not where I necessarily want to be yet, I feel more fulfilled doing my own thing than working for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
At least if I succeed or fail, it's on my back.
Right.
That's what I did, especially having survived addiction and all that. And I'm not saying this for everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody ain't meant to have their own life. But if you can do that for yourself, even on a part-time level, try it. You never know where it might lead. It might take off, it might not, but at least you know that you did that you tried it. You never know who you may inspire. You never know who may inspire you. But develop your sense of kingship, develop your sense of self. Everybody has to do something different to sustain themselves.
Right.
We as Black people, especially Black men, we are king. We are royalty. It's time for us to get back to that.
And we most definitely got to. And we saying some stuff here tonight here on the podcast. And we thank, and big shouts out to everybody who is watching us right now on Facebook Live. We live streaming. So we encourage you to share, leave more comments. We encourage you to get the thumbs up, the hearts up as well. And also this will be up on on the YouTube channel as well. And I want to let everybody know we do have a YouTube channel, which is Walking This Way's Impact Voice Podcast. We are on YouTube. So I encourage everybody to like, subscribe, leave comments, get notification. So we want to get them numbers up on our YouTube channel because I want to go places. And also get with Joel with his nonprofit organization. Donation, don't giving back, someone back into what people are doing. Also, talk about that, Joel. How can we start donating? What can we send our donation? Is it a month? Is it something we can set up monthly, yearly? How is that process going about with the donations towards your nonprofit organization?
Yeah, well, one thing that we as Black people have to start doing is supporting our nonprofits and our community organizations, because that's one area where we lack. Support your local nonprofits. If you don't support Metta Association, support somebody locally if you can. You can Cash App $ Metta Association, METTA Association. Right now we've got events coming up, so donations are desperately needed. They go straight to our events and our outreach. We got a lot of things coming up where we're trying to go out into the community and help people. So if you go to mettaassociation.org, we have information there on how to donate. But the quickest way to help is the Cash App Metta Association. And it's greatly appreciated. Running a nonprofit is pretty much a one-man operation. So anything you can donate, I don't care if it's $1, greatly appreciated. So thank you in advance for donating and supporting us.
And awesome stuff. And like I said, help out, give back, sow a seed, just really give back to a great cause. And that's what it's all about. I want to mention something too. And I'm looking at another thing in the notes. God sent a mindset, and I looked this up the other day. He said, God sent a mindset, breaks every mold and overcome all limitations. What you want to say about that, George?
It's true. Everything is possible through God as long as you have faith. If you don't have faith, let me say this about faith. To me, tested faith is the strongest. Question faith. You have to have moments where you kind of like, yeah, because once it's proven, then it's strengthened. There have been times where I've questioned and only to be proven wrong and to have my faith reassured. And my faith is important to me because I've been through things. And I don't know. I think people that just have blind faith and never question it, to me, that seems like obedience. But when you go through something and your faith is shaken and you find that it's resolved and it's real, it means more to me. It's just like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but I take my faith very seriously because I've been through the fire with it. And one thing I do every day, I make sure I get about 4 a.m. I go outside and pray before I do anything. And 9 times out of 10, I don't pray for myself because I'm blessed. I pray for other people. I pray for people I don't know. I pray for the world. And it's something that I've noticed just makes me feel good, makes me feel right. So prayer is important. And I never I don't believe in dogma. I don't believe in pressing my beliefs on somebody else. That's part of self. And even for people, non-believers, you can still find your way. It's about spirituality. It's about having something that centers you. So I think that's important for everybody. And that's a part of developing a sense of self. And through that, developing that sense of self, you can develop a sense of kingship and queenship in a way that's genuine and not about ego and not about arrogance. And through that, you can develop a sense of peace and well-being that'll serve you well in life.
And that's some awesome stuff. And big shout out to everybody. And looking in the comment section, big shout out to Sabrina as well. She said, "This is great, guys." So big shout out to her for supporting and watching us talk about some great stuff here tonight. And I know I'm gonna get into something else too. And I was looking at something about how a king act. I know we hear that word loosely. We hear people, I'm a king, but are we acting like a king? And I ain't talking about with the dress, and I ain't talking about with material things. I'm talking about the characteristics of a king. And some stuff I looked up, George, the other day. It said how a king act. Men's broken relationships. It said men's broken relationships. Right. Do you have anything you want to share on that one?
Yeah, it ties into what your idea of a king is. And like I said earlier, a king is not to be draconian. A king is not necessarily meant to rule in the classic sense of what we may think of. A king is meant to lead. A king is meant to lead by example. A king is meant to unite. A king is meant to be stern when he has to be, but a king is meant to be a peacemaker and bring people together and unite and make sure that all prosper, but yet hold authority. And it should be with kindness, but yet should speak of kindness, yet not be afraid to bear fangs when needed. To show strength, but kindness.
Right.
So that's my definition of a king.
And another thing I've seen, this too plays a role as well. Keep his word.
Keeping your word is important. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. Otherwise, shut up. That's one thing, and there's sometimes extenuating circumstances where you can't necessarily do that. But yeah, if you say you're gonna do something, do it. Because as men, that's all we got is our word. It don't matter how much money you got. It don't matter what status you hold. If you ain't got your word, you useless. Because that's all you got. No matter how much money you have or anything. When they put you in the ground, the main thing they need to be upset about you is that man kept his word. So yeah, you keep your word. Keep your word. Be honor bound. Be honor bound.
Yeah, and people respect you more if you keep your word.
Yeah,
because you don't want to be that type of dude and say, yeah, he good people. When it came to a word, man, don't trust him.
Yeah.
So keeping your word is important. You say you're gonna do something for somebody, do it. Looking at another comment as well. Sabrina Ford said, not only is keeping your word important, it's attractive. You want to comment on that, George, as well?
Another thing about a man, and this is something I've always been very headstrong about, a man should be chivalrous. A man should know how to court a woman and be chivalrous. And we kind of losing sight of that. A man shouldn't call a woman a disrespectful woman.
Right.
Shouldn't call out her name, shouldn't be disrespectful, no matter what that woman does. Regardless of the woman. No matter how she conducts herself, you don't call a woman out her name.
Right.
To me, that cheapens the man more so than the woman. So be chivalrous. We need to teach our sons to be chivalrous. I teach my sons that, because to me that says something more about the man than the woman. So that's something I feel is important, and we need to get back to that. We need to get back to some of the old principles, some of the old ways of doing it, because I think that creates a chasm between our men and our women, and we need to get back to that, get back to courting women, and that's an issue, and I think it would affect how women view themselves. If you know a man is not gonna call you out your name, then maybe they make you think about how you carry yourself.
Yeah, and that's some great stuff. Romance. Fellas, romance is important to a lady. Make her feel special, do things for her, and it's not about you having sex. But and I share this too as well. This is something I learned, and something I picked up. And when you get married, to those who are married, if you are already married or have not been married or looking forward to getting married, to the fellas, I think the most sexiest thing is to be able to give your wife a bath when she's tired. Bathe her. Ain't all about you. I gotta penetrate. No, bathe your wife. Breathe her down. Bathe her. Give her a shower when she's been having a tough day. Make her feel special. That's something I'm gonna do when I get married.
Rub her feet. Rub her back. If like my fiance, she works full time. She in school. If I know she got a lot of schoolwork to do, I'm gonna have everything set up for her.
Right.
Everything for her. Make sure she can concentrate on that. And she does the same thing for me.
Right. And that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Take her by the hand, turn her around, tell her how, and pull her in and whisper in her ear and tell her how beautiful she is, how sexy she is. We got to bring that back, man. Yeah. We got to get back into that romance side of ourselves. We don't romance no more. It's like we get in these relationships now. We may get bored and dull, but let's make it meaningful again. So,
and do it without expecting something in return. Just do it
as that. Fact.
Do it without ulterior motives.
At fact. That's it. If your wife, if your girl, your girlfriend, fiance, whatever, let's say she says she want her feet rubbed. rubber feet, get out the door. It's not about rubbing the feet. You know you gotta do for me now. No.
No.
I heard this the other day, Joe, and I thought this right here was so cool. He said, this guy said, sometimes, not say sometimes, but if she says she's tired, be her urgent care. She said, you go to urgent care, what the doctor gonna tell her to do? Go take off and tell her to rest. He said a man need to be his woman's urgent care.
Yeah.
Just take care of her, make her feel good. It's not about you bedding her, but she said, my feet hurt, rub her feet. Matter of fact, learn how to rub her feet. If you don't not do massages, I think it's class that teach how to do massages.
Yeah.
If I'm not familiar with it, but learn how to do different massages for your ladies, fellas, if you in a relationship, married, whatever. We gotta bring that back again. We gotta bring that fire back, bring that passion back. Master the bedroom. And like, why are you talking about this stuff tonight? But this stuff is important, especially when you get married.
It's part of being a man.
Yeah. Exactly. And I know, and Sabrina Ford said she said I love romance. So big shout out to her as well in the comment section.
Yeah.
Another thing we're gonna bring up too. It says how the king acts with honesty.
Honesty. Go into a situation not with an air of deception. Don't go into a situation thinking how I'm gonna get over, how I'm gonna come out. Go into every situation. That's how I go into business situation. Look, this is what I need. This is what you need. I go into every business situation with the thought of I'm gonna try to do something that's gonna benefit them and me. I don't go into it thinking I'm gonna get over. They gonna get over. No, go into a situation with an earnest mindset, benefit both, and that way everybody wins.
That's it. And another thing, and I know this is something that you will love. You said it earlier. Mm-hmm. How a king acts takes responsibility for his actions.
Okay, that's right. Be responsible, but it's about accountability. It's about accountability, because that's the first part of being a man. Because everything you do, good or bad, you have to accept responsibility for it. If you don't, that's part of keeping your word. That's part of being honest. If I make a mistake, I need to just own up, yes, I made a mistake. If you try to skirt responsibility, who's going to believe you in anything? Nobody. Nobody's going to believe you. Nobody's going to want to deal with you. But if you're man enough to say, hey, I made a mistake, all right, I can deal with you. I can mess with you. And that transcends to women. A woman's not going to want to deal with a man that always, oh, that wasn't me. And that, come on.
And then you know what? They get caught, they still lie.
Yeah. And in the cookie jar. Chocolate chips around your mouth. It wasn't me.
And they still lie.
Yeah,
And they get caught, and they notice now people record stuff now.
Everything.
And they still would say, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. They said they lying. They lying on me.
Give me one quick second.
All right. Now we talk about some great stuff here. I like what Sabrina's saying. Definitely give or take situation. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Giving and taking. It's all about growth and elevation. And that's what it's all about, becoming a better you and a better me every day. And learning from different people but at the same time, I'm applying it to my life as well. I'm reading about James Bond, and I'm reading a James Bond novel. Like I've had a few James Bond novels, and James Bond is really, really got my attention. Joy, with James Bond, just learning about James Bond, his character, how he carried himself, as a man, manly, masculinity. So I look at guys like that. I'm learning about LeBron James' work ethic. Oh, Michael Jordan work ethic. I'm learning about these different guys' work ethic. Tom Brady's, the great ones, how they put in the time. Me personally, I work out. I work out with Coach Shay. She co-hosts a show with me on Tuesdays. I work out with her twice a week. So get my body right, get my mind right. It's an important thing. Reading different books, focusing on the inner person, focus on more on the I am instead of the I do, but focus on the I am. So developing that whole man that I know that Ferman can be. That's important to me right now. Learning Ferman, knowing who Ferman is, then everything else gonna fall into place. What you want to say about that, George? With I know you said something. It starts with self, but come within self, coming to the knowledge who you are, and how everything will start coming together for you on the outside.
Well, part of that is you're developing your own sense of masculinity, and that's where we fall off a lot because everybody has their own sense of masculinity, and some people's sense of masculinity is so far off the mark. That's where they mess up. You know, a lot of guys that I used to hang around, their sense of masculinity was juicing a woman, having a bunch of kids, being promiscuous. You know, oh, that's a man right there. He got 4 or 5 women, and he not working, and he laying up on them. You know, once you kind of define a sense of masculinity that's more in tune with a biblical sense of what a man is, that's when you kind of hitting on something. But a lot of us are still kind of in that little boy stage of what a man is. And a lot of women really got it screwed up too, as far as what a man is. It's a lot of women that think that's what a man is. You know, he got a lot of kids, he got some money and a nice car, and that's all it is. You know, they're pretty much males with no substance. So that's an important thing too. But I guess that has to be defined by the individual what masculinity is, and that plays into developing the sense of self.
Oh yeah, most definitely do. And I know we pressed for time. I'm gonna bring this one out too. We gotta do a part 2 on this one again as well.
Yeah. About 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah.
I know, right? So this one said, I'm gonna say this one too. Brings calm order to a situation as a king. What you gonna say about that one?
To me, a king, just by his presence should bring a certain amount of calm to a situation without even saying a word. You can tell somebody's presence just when they in the room, if a man is right. Not saying he can come in the room and stop a storm, but you can tell somebody is right just by looking at them. That's all I got to say on that. You can tell.
Another thing that says this: being hardworking and energetic, speaking well, protecting people. What you want to say about that one?
All those are true. Because a man is going to have a goal or something that he's going to strive for. It's going to look different. Some people going to work 20 hours a day, but you got some men that can work 2 hours a day and get more done than somebody that's working 20. So everybody's going to look different. But it's a matter of he's going to have something that moves him, something that motivates him, and it's going to look different from every man, from man to man. But he's going to have a purpose. He's going to have a drive, and you can be able to see it in that person. And when you see it, it's going to be a beautiful thing to witness because it's going to make others want to move. It's going to make others want to follow them.
And that's what's up. We got a comment session. Danielle Thomas said, "God bless." That's the comment that she left in the comment section. Another thing I want to say is this one too. Blessing others and knowledge and effects of other people.
Yeah. Because I can only speak for myself. Every day I feel like I got to bless somebody in any way I can. Any way I can. And that's really why I started my nonprofit, because it really is not for me. I'm trying to help other people. Because one thing Wes Watson says, he said, become the man you might admire and give him away.
Right.
Give him to others. And that's what really brings me joy. If anything I can do to help somebody else, because I've been in a position where I needed help and I was blessed. And that meant so much to me. You know, I'm not in the best situation, but I'm blessed. I'm okay.
Right.
So if I can provide that feeling to somebody else, that makes me smile.
Right.
So yeah.
Man, this is some straight stuff, man. I just love what's going on, man. Like I said, I just thank God for what He's doing, learning who we are, coming to identity, learning who we truly are. Just like, if take me back, we said the books, the Bible says, he said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness.
Right.
And when I look at, like I said, I mentioned it earlier on the show, but just going back to image, a representation. That's motivation to me by itself. That I'm made in the image of the creator himself. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. That motivates me. And likeness, the fact or quality of being like a resemblance. So we resemble the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And for so long, if somebody take your identity, well, they got you, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't know who you are, you're gonna become everything to everybody.
Right.
And what the old saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Okay. And a lot of it, we fell for everything. And we didn't stand for anything.
Right.
So I'm just loving this stuff that we're talking about here tonight. Another thing it says, a thing about a king, fairness, justice, and logic. What you say about that?
All perfect. You got to be fair. You can't show bias. You can't show unfair favor. You got to try to be righteous. You got to be right in how you treat people. I try to treat people the same, whether you white, black, or whatever. And because that's how God treats us. If we in his image, we should try to emulate his ways.
Amen. And that's where I'm at, George.
Yeah.
And that's just where I'm at. And I'm just thankful for what God is doing in my life. And I'm very thankful what he's doing in your life and Felicia's life and many others that I came in contact with. I can't speak for nobody else, man. I'm at a whole another level right now. And I'm becoming more dangerous, more focused man I ever been before, George. I'm not saying to be cocky, I'm not saying to be boastful, but I'm boastful in the Lord. And I'm very thankful for what he's doing in my life. Separate. You mentioned something earlier. Separate from people. I'm to the point, George, I can't stand people that complain. I can't stand people that's murmuring now. It's like, it made my ears hurt because people always complain about so much. And you mentioned something earlier. It's like, if you want something in life, you're going to have to get out your comfort zone.
To get what you never had, you got to do what you never done.
And it's going to cost you some things.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you some things. Everybody, I'm this, I'm that. I don't want to be around people that's complaining. If you complaining, don't talk to me. You murmuring, don't talk to me. I'm all on my mindset is on a whole different level right now. And I don't need that negative energy around me. And I know you don't want that negative energy around you as well.
No. Hey, here's my thing. I might can tolerate a little complaining, but complain while you doing something. You know what I'm saying? Complain while you writing a business plan. Complain while you looking for this second job. Complain while but just to sit around and complain. Here's what's even worse. Why you hating on somebody that is doing something?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
That's the worst.
Oh yeah.
And
I like what Charles Barkley said, because Charles Barkley said on an interview with Oprah, and it was years ago. I think he said, realize people hate because they life suck. Yeah. I wrote that down in one of my notes the other day. I said, you know what? I don't want to live a suck life. I don't want my life to suck, because the Bible said he came that I might have life and have more abundantly. I mean, I'm gonna have a life. I'm not gonna have a suck life. I'm not gonna have a defeated life, because I played that role long time ago. Yeah. In my teens, my 20s, and my 30s, and I'm 40 now. And I don't want to waste time. That's another thing I want to talk about, time. Valuing our time. What you say about that? I know, George, you a businessman. You got stuff going on. How do you, in your profession, handle time, and how do you deal with people when it comes to time? I know you don't want your time wasted at all.
No. There have been things in my life where I could say I wasted time, but the way I look at it is everything happens in due time for a reason. Because everything that I went through in the past that I could say was wasted time, I learned from it. So I don't look at anything as wasted time as long as I learn from it and I progress from it. Now, if I hadn't learned anything and I was still doing the same stuff I was doing before, then it's wasted. But I grew from it. and I became the person I am from it. So it was all learning, so it was a blessing. But if you go through something and you hadn't learned from it and you're still doing the same thing, then you wasting your time. But it's to try to use every experience to try to progress and grow from it. Then you're doing something with it. Especially if especially if in the end it ends up benefiting other people, especially people who don't know, it's a blessing.
Oh yeah, it is a blessing, and like I said, it is a blessing. And like I said, just to be talking about this with you tonight here on the podcast of Walking His Ways, Impact Voice, and we thank everybody for hanging out with us as we're live streaming on Facebook Live right now, and we thank everybody for sharing, leaving comments, hitting the thumbs up, the heart, the cares. We thank everybody for hanging out with us on this Wednesday night here on Walking This Way Impact Voice Podcast. I know we're pressed for time. We better get off the air. But one more time, George, plug up the upcoming events you have coming up this Friday for those who just tuning in on the tail end of the podcast.
All right. Well, we got an event this Friday from 11 to 1. And let me pull up the information again so I can read it verbatim.
Okay, then. Take your time.
We're going to be talking about the new 988 number, which is like 911, but for mental health crisis. And that's so important because a lot of times 911 gets called for mental health crisis and they're not necessarily equipped to deal with it. So this new number was started to benefit people. So if you know someone that's having a mental health crisis or you have one call that and they're specially trained to deal with it, it's going to be a luxury 5-star entertainment at 211 North Irvay, Suite 1220, Dallas, Texas, 75201, this Friday from 11 to 1. It's going to be held in conjunction with Chance 490, which is headed up by Dr. Asteria Miller. So please come out and join us. I'm going to be also speaking about Black mental health and Black manhood. Like I said, this Friday, the 29th from 11 to 1. I look forward to seeing you all and meeting you there. So that's this Friday. So very excited about that. Ferman, hopefully you can join us if you have time. And I'm very happy about these events coming up. And also on August 6th, I have an event in Memphis, Tennessee, but I'll have more information about that next week.
Man, awesome stuff. And I appreciate you, George. I know we're talking about doing a brunch here soon. I know Coach Shay, the co-host of Walking His Way Impact Book Podcast, brought up the idea of having brunch with you guys since y'all been on the podcast. The way to meet all of y'all in person. And we're talking about doing that soon. We'll keep everybody updated for those that's here in Dallas that we have been interviewing here on the podcast, that we get together and have brunch with y'all to be able to talk and stuff like that. So I'm very excited about that also that's coming up. And by the way, we check out our YouTube channel. We encourage everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Walking This Ways Impact Voice Podcast. And it don't cost you anything. We want you to like, subscribe, get notifications. Of course, this episode will be on the YouTube channel tonight. Lord's willing to say the same. They will be on the YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm just getting tongue-tied. This episode, you can go back and listen to it. Big shout out to Felicia as well for hanging out with us for a little while. Talk about the upcoming event this Saturday. I know George, upcoming event this Friday morning in Dallas. There's a lot of great things going on in the city of Dallas. So we thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We want everybody to be encouraged, stay focused, and most important, before we get off the air tonight, get your favorite drink, whatever you drink, water, tea, coffee, whatever your favorite drink is. You look in the mirror. You tell yourself, I love you. I have your back. You tell yourself, we going to win. You tell yourself, I'm with you till thick and thin. You encourage yourself. And once you do that, you toast yourself and let the games begin. So we want everybody to have a great night here on Walking His Ways Impact Voice Podcast. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Go write your goals down. If you got a journal, fellas, men, get your journal. I got me one. Get your journal. Start writing down things that come to your mind and go over your things. Have a mission statement. And I think we need to have a mission statement for our families, because that's something we never thought about. We have mission statements for business, but we never have a mission statement for ourselves in our own personal life, especially for us men. We got to protect our legacy. We got to protect our last name, respect our last name as well. But we're going to talk about that more on another podcast. But y'all have a great night. And George, you have any final remarks for the listening audience before we ready to get off?
Just want to thank everybody for listening. It's been fun. I look forward to doing it again.
Most definitely. Appreciate you, George. Appreciate you, Felicia, as well. That's came on. Once again, y'all have a great night. We'll see y'all next week here on Walking This Wave Impact Voice Podcast. Peace, everybody.